Let us pray. O God of spirits and of all flesh, who hast trampled down death and overthrown the devil, and given life to thy world, do thou, the same Lord, give rest to the soul of thy departed servant, King Constantine II of Greece, in a place of brightness, a place of refreshment, a place of repose, where all sickness, sighing, and sorrow have fled away. Pardon every transgression which he has committed, whether by word or deed or thought. For thou art a good God and lovest mankind, because there is no man who lives yet does not sin. For thou only art without sin. Thy righteousness is to all eternity, and thy word is true. For thou art the resurrection, the life, and the repose of thy servant, King Constantine II of Greece, who has fallen asleep, O Christ our God, and unto thee we ascribe glory, together with thy Father, who is from everlasting, and thine all-holy, good, and life-creating Spirit, now and ever, unto ages of ages. Amen. Hello, and welcome to Monarchist Minute. I am Victor Smith, joined... Charles, would you like to continue the introduction?
Oh, well, let's see, this is what happens when you don't make everything explicitly clear before we start. Okay, so we got a bit of a loaded panel today. We have Krieger, Trad Raider, Constantine, the not General Secretary, the Lieutenant Secretary, if you will, Friedrich Magnolia,
Hello.
Victor, myself, and we're going to finally start to appeal to that 50% of the population. We have Camilla, who I believe this is her first time on the podcast. Would you like to say hello?
Hello, thank you for having me.
I just said, would you like to say hello? And
Yes.
then you said more words after that.
Sorry.
No, it's good. Okay. Well, this is a great way to start off a somber topic, and me making a cheap joke. You know, tone. Okay. So I'm gonna let Vic, because he was the first one who brought it to our attention, discuss the topic of the late king of Greece. So,
Give me just a second here. Let me grab a sip of water.
you see, one day we will have a podcast where we're all prepared and everything has been planned out to a T.
Well, I just had to grab a sip of water, Charles. If you'll...
Yeah, I know, but I could have said, hey, you were gonna lead us on this topic, so
right. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
But earlier this week, His Majesty King Constantine II of Greece, or Constantine XIII, if you see the Greek state as a successor state to the Byzantine Empire, which somebody on our Twitter feed did. I forget who it was. But anyway, he died this week. And the Greek government had the temerity, the gall, the gumption to deny him a state funeral. You did not mishear me, ladies and gentlemen. The monarch of Greece, the former monarch of Greece, was denied by the current Republican Greek government from having a state funeral. Now, this could be due to his involvement in a military junta. I wish our friend Alex was here to tell us more about that, but he's not here. So, I'm not going to speculate about this military junta. I will allow any Greek that is listening to educate about this Greek military junta.
AKA make fun of us in the comments.
If I may, sir.
Go ahead.
I have family that, my friends' family, technically speaking, that are Greek. Like, lots of Greek people in that side of the family. So, essentially, that military junta, while it was just a bad time for Greece in general to begin with.
Indeed. Because of, as our friend Joe Capri puts it, a gunpoint referendum. If you have to hold a referendum at gunpoint, is it really a fair referendum? No.
No, it's
I
not.
think anyone who is intellectually honest will be able to tell you that a gunpoint referendum is not a fair referendum at all. Whatsoever.
For a democratic... sorry.
And we pray, we hope and pray that if any Greeks are listening to this, that you are planning to give His late Majesty the funeral he deserves. Even if it cannot be a state funeral, technically, give him the funeral he deserves, please. Because when I heard that it was going to have a private ceremony at a former royal residence, I almost lost it. Because that is just the height of disrespect. And as Charles Coulomb has said, the government have treated the monarchy like total garbage. And this is yet another fine example of the incumbent government treating their former monarch like complete and total garbage. It is insane, disrespectful, unconscionable, unacceptable, inexcusable. I could go on. But let's let other people talk, because I'm getting a little worked up now.
If the referendum for a democratic government is held by gunpoint, that doesn't seem very democratic. That seems an awful dictatorship of you, one surmise, yes?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't really know of any referendum to well, I don't really know about which referendum specifically is being talked about here, because I know they had an interregnum in the 1920s and early 30s, I guess, because Wikipedia told me so. But no, you just the Portuguese have something in their constitution that says, you can't have a referendum on restoring the Portuguese monarchy, because obviously such an unpopular institution wouldn't I don't know. I can't even. I can't make a coherent
The thought
joke.
that, as Charles's clone, I'd like to say, the thought he's trying to put together is that if the monarchy was so unpopular, they wouldn't need to put such a provision in their constitution, but the fact that they do proves that the monarchy is popular, and thus a threat to the democracy that is Portugal.
There we go. As my stunt double has so excellently surmised. He's going to be the summarizing bot for me now. Anyway, so I don't have to. Why put in real work when you could just have others do it for you? Well, let's see. What's my common catchphrase when I am trying to find a staggering speech? I don't know. Anyways, so no, the thing is that you have all these monarchies across. Yes.
Aiden had a really good idea with that sort of swear jar every time you said "but anyway."
Well, I'm a little cash poor right now. Well, that's a lie. But, well, in terms of cash in my wallet, I'm a little cash poor. I don't think the $3 would cover any of the back payments. Whew. So, as a way of getting back to the topic, at hand. The Greeks and whoever everywhere the monarchy is has been taken down, the Republican institutions are always trying to prevent it from coming back. And you have to wonder why this is the case with an institution that claims to represent the will of the people. If the will of the people is to have a monarchy, then the democracy has proved its point and it doesn't need to exist anymore, because by democratic will of the people decided not to have a monarchy. Now, of course, democratic will of the people is kind of a stupid basis for a monarchy in my opinion, but whatever. Uh, but I don't know. We all know the hypocrisy of the European republics and why they're all stupid and why we should feel bad, because of how we treated European monarchs who were allegedly our allies, like the King of Greece, for example. And the Italian monarch, who, need I remind you, was on our side for the last 2 years of the war. And yet, allegedly, there is persistent rumors that we rigged that election down to this very day.
Whereas
And
we totally did. We totally did. Like
yeah,
Oh,
Afghanistan.
100%.
Like we
I
did in
mean,
Afghanistan.
yeah, I think that without having done any research, don't assume. But at the same time, if Latin America is a pattern, I mean, Italy isn't quite Latin America, but it is Latin Europa, so close enough.
Yeah.
I also would like to make the point that since the monarchy has been abolished in Greece, what is the one world event that when you think of Greece, you think of? It's the
2008
absolute,
Funny debt crisis.
it's the absolute recession, the fall of their currency, like the failure of the Greek state. That is the big prevailing thing that happened to Greece since the monarchy has been abolished. And it just further proves, once again, that another monarchy abolished, another state failed.
Another great example of another
We
monarchy
only-
abolished, another state failed with Libya. Libya, Syria, Iraq. Why do all these things have
Don't
in common?
forget France. Don't forget France.
Well,
Oh,
yeah,
they're French. There's a difference.
Germany.
the French are different by default.
Germany, Spain, even though it was restored. Let's see other examples I can think of. Austria.
Well, Austria, you don't hear
Russia?
about
No,
very-
Austria's actually not doing.
Don't get me started on Russia. Don't get me started on Russia.
Yeah, well, actually, I think we could, because this brings us into topic 2, which is how do we prevent, well, firstly, monarchies being overthrown, and how do we prevent that in the
Well,
future?
firstly, we have to say, because by way of definitively wrapping up, even though this is a natural transition to topic, does anyone have any final thoughts on His late Majesty?
He looked like a cool lad. I'm
Final
gonna be real.
My final thought is, long live King Paul II.
Long live King Paul II.
Long live the king.
Paul II. Or I'm not sure how the Greeks would say it, but I think it's Pavlos or something.
Something
To that
similar.
effect.
It would be,
Yeah, but
Well-
like in antiquity and in every other
Saudi
era, we would
Pavlos.
anglicize everybody's name.
because we're cool like that. So, natural transition, which has now been made unnatural. Let us talk about restoring monarchies, how to prevent abolition of monarchies, and just that general topic, because we need philosophical stuff.
Yeah, new quota, 1 philosophical topic every episode, and 1 cooking topic every episode. Submit your recipes.
Cooking
to
topic,
Michelle
I
Wolf.
I like the idea of the cooking show.
Yeah, me too.
Well, you
Okay.
guys can do your own cooking show, and we can put it on YouTube later.
Well,
Let's-
Right, that works for me.
when
Okay.
when people when people think Monarchist Minute, I want them to think big souffle. But
I still don't know what souffle is, but okay.
it's
Look it
like
up.
a big.
It's like a French cake, almost.
You have a
A
browser.
Yeah,
really
look
light
it up.
cake. They're actually good.
Anyways, so no brownie points for everyone because I do have 1 remove this week. But
What?
How to prevent the abolition of monarchy. The person who proposed that topic, I don't think, is here, unfortunately, so he won't be able to lead us off. But I would say the biggest and best way to prevent the abolition of monarchy is to subvert all foreign Republican influence. So the New York Times is going to be banned in whatever country we're talking about. And if you're in America, the New York Times just gets shut down and we use the office spaces for something else. I don't know.
Something
We rent it
else.
out for office parties. There we
You
go.
can make a monarchist paper.
There we the new New York Times, the New York Times 2, the New York Times
The New
V2,
York Royalist?
The New Amsterdam Times.
the new
New
Amsterdam
York
York
for far
Times.
longer than it's been called New Amsterdam.
Yeah, but at the same time, we like old school.
Like I said, New
For
York
real.
Royalist. The New York Royalist is the best name of that paper.
Okay, yeah,
Mhm.
but at the same time, wouldn't you want the new New York Royalist? We could capture that Futurama demographic.
That's true. Anyway, off topic.
Yes. Wow, that is that a record for getting off topic? Probably not. That's
Yeah.
On topic. But we got on
Not
topic.
even close.
Okay.
If I may give my thoughts on this,
Go ahead.
Sure.
I agree to an extent with subverting all Republican, small r Republican, not big R Republican,
But Big R
influence.
Republican is cringe as
In
well.
fairness, we would
oh.
subvert both. Both is good.
Well, yes, but that's not, strictly speaking, the GOP is not strictly speaking what I'm talking about. It's
Of course.
Republicanism in general.
Of course. Continue.
But I think the biggest thing that we could do to prevent it from happening again is to make absolutely sure that things like, and I don't like to bring this up, like Mr. Henry Glucksberg, Mountbatten, whatever his name is, are kept far away from the running of royal duties and royal business. He is a walking scandal right now, and he is doing his level best to tarnish the image of his own family.
He's just a nutcase, if I may.
Of course, like, why would you marry an American actress?
Reminds me of another British monarch, if you ask me.
Well, yes, absolutely. I was gonna get to that.
Except Harry's not gonna inherit.
Well, I
Hopefully.
think that I don't know.
Was it
I don't
Grace
know why.
Kelly? Was it Grace Kelly or Wallace Simpson who won from
Walt
Baltimore?
Simpson. And she wasn't an
Simpson.
actress. She was like
A
a
socialite,
socialite. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, and
I've played before many a time. I know Wallace Simpson.
Either way,
some people
to keep people like that away would definitely be a priority.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Look, I know people will say, "Oh, let people marry who people want to marry," you know, and I don't think necessary. I mean, I think that if a noble is going to marry a not noble, that not noble should at least be of an aristocratic, you know, spirit of things, you know.
High mercantile, like a
Not
middle class family.
mercantile, no. Well, you
Middle
know,
class
but
family.
well,
That's the word I was
you know, have essentially come from the background and lineage, if not direct title and whatnot. But no, I mean, if Harry and Meghan legitimately love each other, then okay, great. But at the same time, guys, your first obligation now as should be to the royal family and to the continued kingdom in support of your father and mother and father/father-in-law for Meghan, and you're not doing that. And I can't tell you how to live your life. And if you wanted out of the royal family, which I think they did, right? They got out of the royal family to start their own thing in Canada or whatnot.
I'd say they're
California
just about on the edge of being just completely out of the royal family. I mean, at this point, I've made the joke of calling him Citizen Harry Mountbatten Windsor because calling him
Wait.
Prince is
Someone
a
said
stretch.
California.
Yeah, here's the thing about that. If he applies for American citizenship, does he lose the title?
Yes.
I thought so. Because I'm no expert on Constitution.
Technically speaking, under the nobility clause, he would lose his titles, but I'm pretty sure that Congress would pass an exemption law allowing him to keep his title.
Parliament. Yeah.
Of course our Congress would, you know?
Well,
you mean our Congress? Is it a
I'm not
lot
saying it's
here?
epic. Not saying it's bad.
I'm saying our Congress, because if an American becomes knighted by the king, I assume that Congress has to sort of give a rubber stamp approval.
Well, I don't think. I mean, I don't know. I would just assume Congress wouldn't care enough to because you know, Sir Bob, the famous filmmaker, probably isn't going to warrant Congress. Congress has other motives, like questioning the motives and patriotism of whoever proposes any law. They have other priorities.
Isn't that they most of their time doing like the 15 standoff we had last week?
Yeah, so ballot 50, give it up for
ballot 15, everybody. That's still mental to me.
Well, 130 more would have been nice.
Okay, but in all fairness, that last record was before the Civil War, which, in all fairness, it was the Civil War. What do you expect?
You know, is a functioning Congress really necessary to the continued existence of the American state?
I think we got off topic again, Charles.
Yeah.
Oh.
We are having a great time tonight.
Yes. Okay, so anyone else have other ideas of how to prevent monarchy other than mass censorship and...
I'd say, and this is gonna sound weird at first, but hear me out. Propaganda. Now, when people think propaganda, they think Nazi propaganda or Soviet propaganda, right? Like, clearly the bad guys. But if you've ever looked at any painting of a monarch, you don't get the feeling that they're a bad person. You actually get an inspired feeling. We need to bring back art of monarchs, make it commonplace, bring back religious art, and also bring back homogeny when it comes to religion, because religion is one of the most important factors when it comes to people agreeing with each other. It's the most core belief. And so if you have a nation of people who agree on a religion, then in general, they will be less likely to fight each other.
I completely agree with you, but here's one thing. This is America.
That's true. I mean,
nobody's going to agree on anything.
Not in America. Well, firstly, the idea of America being a melting pot is a poor decision, but I'm not going to start that rant tonight. I'll do that another time when Charles wishes to join me for that. But for other nations where homogeny is more possible and preferable, like, for example, Spain, or Japan especially is a great example. Like, look at Japan. No one hates the royal family in Japan. And everyone in Japan is Japanese or an American weeaboo. But no one in Japan hates the emperor. And you never hear scandal about the Japanese emperor. The biggest scandal of the Japanese royal family in the last 100 years, well, I'm going to change that. In the last 60 years was the king, well, it's the emperor, I think, actually. The emperor of Japan, his daughter married a commoner, and they very kindly were with her and celebrated her marriage, and then she renounced her titles. But it was not even close to a controversy. So it's not...
It was a non-controversy, if you will.
A non-controversy, yes. That was the biggest...
I
Yeah,
have
go
some
ahead.
news on the funeral front.
Go ahead.
All right.
I am pleased to announce that Greek monarchists are going to Athens to pay their respects, and
Wonderful.
they're calling for restoration.
How many people? How many people?
Oh, please be bigger than this.
Hundreds would
According
be a
to an
start.
inside source, thousands.
Okay, that
That is.
definitely works.
See, now if they just decide, hey, maybe we stop by the prime minister's place on the way.
Don't advocate for a coup.
That being said, Monarchist Minute or Monarchist America does not advocate for revolution in previously mentioned nations.
Yeah, do not advocate for a coup, bro.
Yes, but if the republic peacefully dissolves and the monarchy is restored over this, and
We wouldn't
if
complain.
not, we'll be dancing jigs over the Greek republic's grave.
We would not complain.
Okay,
Yeah.
but here's the thing: if it were to be overthrown by, say,
No.
Just prime minister's house, it's dependent on whether the monarch accepts that. Really,
I think Paul would accept.
Oh, I don't know Paul. I don't know him personally. I don't know of him. I haven't really heard of him until about last week.
The Greek royal family still very much styles themselves as royals, so I think
in that case I wouldn't put it past him, which is a good thing because we need that. Greece needs that.
Or who knows? Maybe we could get Louis Alphonse because he's kicking around looking for a place to rule.
Yeah, I have like some French people claim he's the legit king.
He has like 10 claims, and he wants all of them, like Spain, France. Like he could probably claim just about every throne in Europe, believably. So might as well send him to Greece.
I think installing titles is just Pumbo brought Nepal news, but then again, that's been happening for years because their monarchy was only abolished like 2005 or something like that.
Well, that would be fun if we saw a restoration of the monarchy in Nepal.
Well,
it
would be is a restoration of China.
Greco-Nepal Union, personally.
Greco-Nepalese Union.
We need China.
Okay, well, we can actually mention Nepal when we talk about how to restore monarchies as part of our philosophical whatever.
Is that not what we're discussing now?
Technically, we're talking about how to prevent.
That's true.
Difference.
Then natural progression.
Anyway,
any opposition to that?
None.
Opposition will be crushed under the heel of my glorious timestamps. The timestampia omnivici. Timestamps conquer all.
Timestamp.
The
Okay.
timestamp is truth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Literal timestamp 84.
Do we just want to list off every monarchy that we want restored? And then discuss how?
Kosovo and Alabama. Okay. Yeah, the great famous monarchy of
Jamaica,
Alabama.
Peru, Republic Dominican, Cuba, Caribbean, Greenland, El Salvador, 2, Puerto Rico. I'm not going to continue. But
yeah, don't. I think we're getting off track again, guys.
Yes, we are. Well, technically, it's on topic. It's just a little bit of singing, which Charles despises.
Okay, the glorious kingdom of Alabama. Separate rights and privileges from the rest of the American kingdom. So you have the King of America. He'll be the king of all 49 states, but he's also independently the king of Alabama.
All right, so
Hey, Jacobite, get off your high horse.
Oh. All right, here we go. All right, time for the throwdown. Let's see it.
All right, we're on the topic that I think of, that I think are on. Yes?
Yes, we are on restoration of monarchies.
It is imperative that we either get a new dynasty in China, or China basically collapses under its own weight, and a new warlord era, as much as I hate to say it. Because, let's face it, the fall of the CCP is not going to come peacefully.
Should we support a boxer rebellion? Just curious.
Let's get Andrew Tate, the kickboxer, to go lead a rebellion in China.
No.
I know what you mean. I'm joking.
I'm just saying we need some crazy religious fanatics to start doing fun stuff in China.
We
Yeah,
already have
but
the Falun Gong.
the
That's
year was
true, but they're weird.
1900. It is worth remembering. The men who lived through 55 days at Peking.
Okay. Here's the thing about that. We don't. Yeah, we need a Uyghur independent first, and then the puzzle pieces will fall.
Yeah.
I think upsetting people's lives and the infrastructure and all that aside, I think it would be nice just to see a change in China's border map. I mean, it's looked the same since the commies
1951.
overran Tibet in, 48 or whatever.
51.
So, 51, whatever. So, I think that it's about time we saw some real substantial change. And not China claiming and making a 9-dash line for whatever reason, like, what, you ran out of ink? You couldn't be a little more specific. But, I think that a nice change would be good and make China a little more centralized. I mean, yeah, China loses millions of acres of land, but you lose like 2 people in comparison to. I mean,
Yeah, literally, China would lose no one.
Not just Uyghurs.
I mean, yeah,
Tibet, Canton,
Yes.
Yunnan,
it's
Manchuria, Outer Mongolia being returned to China. I mean, returned to Mongolia. I can't speak.
Okay.
Manchuria is independent.
Before
And
we move
Shanghai is-
on,
before we petition China
Ideally.
like 19th century European colonial powers, is anyone? How do we actually restore?
Wait. Before we move on, yeah, let's do that, and then I have a thing we should do.
Let's talk about how theoretically to restore monarchies, not restoring one particular monarchy.
I feel like that falls under the same umbrella.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think that if we wanted to restore a monarchy, first thing, unfortunately, Charles is going to groan when I say this. Popular support amongst the people is probably the best bet when it comes to restoring a monarchy. Yeah, no, go ahead and groan. Do the thing.
I don't disagree. I just think it's sad.
Oh, I also do. But it would definitely be popular support of the people against the stale democracies of today that would lead to a restoration of the monarchy. I also think that it would be helpful if most people actually were, most of the people of voting age were intelligent enough to understand why monarchy is superior, but unfortunately, that is not currently the case. So, like I said, propaganda, mass understanding of a monarchy, while not entirely possible, we can simulate in a way, which would help with the ideal of an American monarchy, and in other places like, say, Greece or other, Brazil, which we can go into that, but not right now. Just other places that the monarchy, I think, should be restored. We definitely need to put in those kinds of mass ideal spreading.
I think, popular support is nice and all, but at the end of the day, the thing is that, there are going to be situations where a political situation is going to get so volatile, you're never going to be able to sway the majority before the regime changes. So in that sense, you probably need the officer corps on your side. And I'm not saying that as a way of advocating for, violent military coup. I'm just saying that if the entire thing falls apart because the thing is unstable, better to have the entire officer corps on your side so they can step in and make the transition as bloodless as possible. Now, yes, I would prefer, in all honesty, as much as I hate the concept, a democratic referendum that lets us all that lets that everyone's like, yay, monarchy and whatnot, but that's not necessarily going to happen, and we should hedge our bets in every way possible, because yes, well, I wouldn't want a Star Spangled Crown style way of the monarchy being introduced. If it has to come to that, we would want it to be as quick and painless as a military coup could be.
Agreed.
For real.
Monarchist of America does not advocate for coups.
Yeah.
Yada 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 yada.
Yada. Before we move on to another topic, even if we're still on this one, I think that we should
And
go.
before we move on to anything, we've got to welcome in our Vice Chancellor to the podcast.
Hello, Will.
Sorry I'm late.
How you doing today, Will?
Yeah.
What I missed?
We covered the death of the king. We covered the update on the death of the king. We covered We covered how to prevent monarchy from being whatnot, and then we covered and now we're covering how to restore monarchies. And I just realized how dangerously close I came to getting us killed by the government.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't need to be fed homes personally. Just my personal opinion here. We don't need the feds.
I don't need more black vans outside my house than there already are.
Well,
Yeah.
it's not so much black vans as it is a truck that says "Flowers by Irene" for me.
Oh yeah, Will 100% has gang stalkers. I think we all agree on that one.
I may or may not have gang stalk.
So, like I was saying, hello, Will. And I think that if what we should do is, on this topic, we could all go one by one and say a monarchy that we wish to be restored.
Okay, we're going to go in the order of that as it appears on my screen, but I think it's the
on
same
all
for
of our
everyone.
screens. Yeah.
Okay, good. So, Krieger.
This is a pretty obvious one for me, but Mexico, 100%. Let's bring it back right now. Fix everything.
I'm curious, which
Agreed.
do you want do you want Habsburg back, or would it be like a like Santa Anna?
Santa
It's
Ana.
like-
Okay, fine. Okay. I'll say it for Krieger. Krieger does not like Santa Ana. In fairness, most people don't. Well, most of the cool people, anyways. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
We dunked on them so hard, and Mexico lost half of its territory.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and the
wonder
Texans
why.
would have killed him, except he flashed the Masonic sign. So,
For real.
So, as for me, since I believe I'm next, I would say the Empire of Austria. Blessed Karl, pray for us. Constantine.
Oh boy, I have one for this one.
Oh no.
I'll say Germany, and I don't support that von Royska or whatever that tried to overthrow the government of Germany. That's not real kosher. But I would love to see distant family to come back to the throne. Personally, it'd be very cool to see that.
The good news is, since the nature of the German Empire had 4 kingdoms under it, there is actually a lot of different options to go with if you wanted to restore the German monarchy. Like, you could go the legitimist route and have a Hohenzollern, or if you want a more Catholic monarchy, you can have a Wittelsbach or a Habsburg. There's a lot of choices.
I personally support the House of Wettin, mostly because that's where my family's from, is Saxony, and distant relations to the Wettin family. So,
Good.
I would prefer to have the Saxon royal family, but at the end of the day, I gotta support the legitimists. I support Saxons in Poland now, which I think Poland, other than Christ himself being the king of Poland, I remember reading an article some ages ago. But if I had to choose, it would be Germany or Poland.
okay. Camilla. Oh boy. Oh, there we go. Camilla. Over to you. You unmute
I
yourself.
believe there was something in the. No. We'll come back. Victor.
We'll come back. Okay.
Yeah.
Well. Okay. So for me, now, since I can't go with the obvious one, I guess we're not going to go with America under the lawful dude, and I'm sure you all know who that is right now. But if I had to pick another monarchy to restore, ooh, that is indeed a difficult one. But I guess I do have an affinity for the Kingdom of the Two Sicilies. A united Italy was a mistake. Changed my mind. Just kidding. You can't. So long live the House of Bourbon. And
Based.
yeah. So I was gonna say something that probably would also get the Flowers by Irene people up at my door. But anyways, Vic, before we get fed.
Will.
Okay. Well, since Germany was already done, and I feel like France feels a little stereotypical, although I would love to see the French monarchy restored, I'm gonna have to go on a wild tangent and say I'd want the Byzantine Empire restored. Like, instead of the normal Greek monarchy, let's find an heir to the House of Pelagios and restore the Byzantine Empire. No small part because it would absolutely infuriate the Republic of Turkey, and I think that'd be great.
Good news. All we would really have to do is restore the Russian Empire, seeing as how technically they're sort of the successors of the eastern half of the empire.
Let's
Fair
not
point.
begin that debate. Anyway,
But then again, we'd have to get rid of Putin, which is a
let's,
whole other debacle in
so
itself.
I don't think Camilla, is your mic working yet or not? Because she was in the text chat.
She says she's having technical difficulties right now.
Okay.
All right, so let's go to me, and as Mr. York here seeded this, I'm actually going to go with what he originally wanted to say.
America.
America.
Okay.
Oh, Columbia, gem of the ocean.
Wrong. I gave you
America.
first, but okay.
Under, well, I will refrain from saying who, because the monarchists of America do not support any particular candidate.
However,
officially.
you personally can.
Yes, I personally can, and I personally would support the dude in Bavaria, Franz.
Okay. That's understandable. I can agree with that. I prefer Ernst August of Hanover, but you know, it works.
He's also a good candidate.
Is this Hanoverian Catholic?
idea.
I'm not sure, but I think it matters to most of the American people. Roughly so.
Yes, but it matters to me,
Well,
and I'm wearing a
it
top
matters to
hat,
George.
so...
Yeah,
It does
I'm
matter.
wearing a top
I
hat,
think it
so
matters
clearly
to
my
me as
opinions
well.
are better than everyone else.
Yes, and a Catholic would be preferred for me as well.
No, I
so-
completely agree, but I don't think to most of the American people it would matter.
No. Constantine, do you see what I said in chat there?
Where?
So, since Camilla's mic isn't working, she wrote in the chat what she thinks would be a great monarchy to see restored, and I said you could read it out for her.
Oh, sure, yes, of course. She says Russia or Germany would also be a great choice. I know she has an affinity for the Russian Empire, like the late Tsars specifically. Because we went to a library a few weeks ago. She picked up books about the Tsardom and everything. I'm like, hey, that's a good read. You should read that. Because I went with her, and we're like, she wanted me to go get a library card. I didn't have stuff that I needed, so I couldn't get a library card. But regardless, she personally thinks the Tsar was a great guy, and like, you know, he wasn't the best leader, but he was still like. It's not hard to find on the internet pictures of him just chilling with his kids, like, you know, like father stuff. Which is something I wish I had growing up. But that's a tangent for another
Wow,
time.
that got really sad.
Whoa.
That's
whoa.
a tangent for another time. Where?
Okay. Have we all said our piece?
Yeah.
I believe so.
Well, obviously we all agree Burger King's supremacy over the Vermont fast food market should also be restored. But
Oh,
Yes.
for
Oh,
sure.
no, yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
I
obviously.
joke, you
One
made
hundred-
that up.
We gotta
But-
retake the Burger King crown, man.
Yeah, well,
Every
I
Burger
have the
King-
conspiracy.
Burger King is literally Huey Long, every Nana King, you know all that jazz.
Showcase.
No, but that's a good one. I think that the current Burger King isn't actually the Burger King because he just looks too ugly to be a nobleman.
His Majesty King Whopper II.
Have you met Charles?
Are you
Whopper,
saying
Whopper,
that?
Whopper,
Are
Whopper,
you saying that Whopper the
No,
second
not that ad.
Not sing that song. That ad is so freaking annoying.
Burger King vacantism? Oh my god. Gosh.
Okay.
I'm bad
hey,
today. I'm bad
Uh,
today. Apologies.
It's
Put
okay.
this
It's not
forward.
like I have. Never mind. I'm not gonna complain. Okay. So, because. Okay. Wait. What? Okay. So have we all agreed that we have exhausted this topic like I have exhausted my car's fuel tank? Hell,
Yep.
I'm stranded in the middle of North Tacoma. No, I'm joking.
Tacoma?
Yeah, it's where the Simpsons live, don't you know?
I thought they lived in
don't you
Springfield.
know?
Springfield.
No, well, they keep switching it up, but one time we saw a picture of Homer Simpson's, a frame of Homer Simpson's license plate, and the initials NT were on it, and apparently North Tacoma has been thrown around as a joke because they keep whatever. Anyways, I'm way too invested in the lore of a show I've stopped watching like over a year ago, I think, because it just got too liberal.
Family Guy. Literally like Family Guy.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and also,
Let us move on.
okay.
You know, this might be an unpopular opinion, but I never thought Family Guy was funny originally in the first place.
What do you mean?
Understandable.
Early on it was. Anyways, topic. Let's get back to it. Or should I say the next one?
That was
Yeah. So next topic, as I go back and consult the, this is what I get for not keeping
Prepping.
things in front of me. Okay. Here we go. So President Biden. He has. There's something that's going on. Oh wait, who introduced the top? Okay, I'm gonna put my fingernail clippers down so you stop hearing them. Okay. Who introduced that topic? Oh, Vic did. Okay.
So, it appears that President Biden, the man in the White House, apparently can't keep his documents straight because there are some documents that were found in a garage in Delaware with this Corvette. And the Democrats, excuse me, and the Republicans are in an uproar over it. Because of course they are.
Well, in all fairness, we kind of did do the same exact thing to their guys, so I can't really blame them for being upset, because if we did it to one, we gotta do it to the other.
I
Because,
think
Right,
it's-
but the Democrats, I think, are saying something like, oh, this is nothing compared to what Trump did.
Doesn't matter what Trump did. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how much. It
I
doesn't
have an
matter
idea.
how much of what it really doesn't. It matters that it was done. Period. End of discussion.
This is like when like I was gonna go on to this is like when your older sibling does something and then but when you do it, they're like, oh no. It's different when I do it.
You know, I do that to my siblings too, so yeah. Yeah, I complete agreement.
Let's just raid everyone's house. They can't complain if everyone gets searched.
No, but then
they can't stop all the federal agents.
no, but then they'll find like what we're not supposed to know. Like, man,
You know, I think the biggest surprise here is that Biden drives a vet. I mean, I would have
Can he even
expected
drive,
him.
bro?
I don't know. I don't
I'd
know
take
what I
that
would
for
have
a Cadillac
expected him
guy.
to drive besides the President Mobile, but I
Pope
don't.
Mobile, obviously.
Oh, for real, the Pope Mobile.
Well, I don't know. I'm still hoping that President Biden is secretly a Vatican plant who's working to undermine the American Republic from within, as all the Klan members feared we were doing in the 1800s. Anyways, what car? Okay, wait. So Trump has a luxury home that the documents were in. Biden has a luxury car the documents were found by. So is the next person going to have a luxury watch the documents were found by, and we're just going to keep working down the
No.
luxury levels
It's
until
gonna
we
be
get
the
to
yacht.
luxury cufflinks? I mean,
It's gonna be the yacht. It's gonna be the yacht.
Yeah, I could see a yacht, honestly. Oh, no. Knowing how much DC politicians love golf, one of them's accidentally gonna leave classified documents with their caddy.
You'd be surprised.
guard this like you guard my 9-iron. It was a special 9-iron owned by the famous
What?
golfer. I don't care.
Seriously, let's start taking bets on that right now. Make a
You guys
poll.
remember how like the nuclear codes were like someone's suit jacket? Was it Clinton who like left the nuclear codes and like?
He lost them. No one knows where they went.
Oh no, I'm thinking of some other guy. I think it was
Holy
maybe
It was probably Clinton.
Oh,
Clinton lost them for a month.
it was either Clinton or one of the Bushes who left it in like their suit pocket, and it was at like the laundry store. So like I'm gonna bet it's gonna be in someone's jacket.
Imagine
lost it for a month.
Imagine being some random like worker at a laundromat making minimum wage in the 90s, and all of a sudden you see nuclear documents. Like you're just doing your job one day, right? And boom, nuclear documents. What do you do? What do you do in that situation?
I mean,
You sell it on eBay, obviously.
Oh yeah,
Like,
no, you
if-
sell it on eBay. Yeah.
how do you
if the
even
government wants it, they can buy it.
how do you even explain that to the authorities? Like, do you just call the White House and be like, "Hey, Mr. President, you left something in the jacket pocket"?
Well, I think it would be
Minutemen and rural Utah.
I think that it would be a very a more high stakes version. So apparently, what happened was, it was one of the iPhones. It was iPhone 4, I think. So Apple was like testing it with some of the employees, but they put it in like a case that made it look like one of the older iPhones, like the more rounded back ones. And someone accidentally left it at a bar or something, and someone found it, and he calls up Apple, and he's like, yo, I think I got like a prototype iPhone here. And Apple's like, like anyone would be stupid enough to leave that. And he's like, okay. So he sold it to someone who like took it apart and posted pictures of all the internals, and Apple was like, ah!
Well, that's Apple's fault. Like that is
Yeah. So I think I'd like to imagine. Well, I'd like to imagine that, but at the same time, I think okay. If I was in that situation, I totally would have nuked.
Well, choose next words carefully, Charles.
Yeah, choose your before the government comes and gets us.
I would have nuked. Well, since no one technically formally owns Antarctica, it wouldn't be a nuke. I don't know. Well, wait.
We'd nuke one of the
countries
countries that owns it. Some penguins do, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I'll solve the Falklands debate. There we go. The irradiated mass owns the Falklands. The Falklands is a self-governing irradiated mass.
No, not Argentina. Antarctica owns the Falklands. Problem solved.
Glory to the Antarctic Empire of Emperor Penguins.
Is Emperor... what's the penguin name from Surf Up?
See,
I didn't think it'd be funny.
See, Republicans, penguins are even so base that they have monarchies.
Oh yeah, that's hierarchy is the order of the day.
Yeah. I mean, dear evolutionists, You claim to be pro-science, and yet you support Republic when you claim we are part of the animal kingdom. Curious.
Hmm.
Okay, so who else wants to nuke something?
Correct.
I think we should nuke the. Okay, I think we should nuke the giant island of trash in the Pacific.
Oh,
not
yeah,
because-
that's totally,
Not because
that's totally
I
a great
care-
idea that won't destroy the environment.
Exactly, man. Like problem
I'm-
solved. It's all gone, and that we don't have to spend like 20 years individually picking up every can. It's just all gone, melted in the explosion.
The problem is it's not like an actual physical island you could stand on. More, it's just kind of like a giant slush heap of plastic and yeah.
I'm just saying, if a federal agent pulls up to my door with a screenshot of some of these conversations, I'm
I
not
have
going to be
no
happy with
relation
you guys.
to any of you.
Okay, I know none of you.
There's that
Yeah,
gift they leaked
no.
to that.
Okay.
Rex, how about we get back on track here?
Okay, I will
Agreed.
just say, to cover our tracks, obviously we don't advocate for deploying the nukes, except on Mars. Those Martians deserve it.
This is all talking about on Minecraft. We're going to do this all on
Minecraft.
Minecraft.
The Minecraft.
Don't use that
Martian
incel
server.
logic, bro. I'm pretty sure we do have a claim on Antarctica. I'm not entirely sure, but
We
I'm
reserve
pretty sure we do.
we have reserved the right to make a claim on Antarctica.
On anything we
Okay.
want.
Well, yeah, because this is America. We're American.
We just do that.
Yeah, it's kind of our job.
So, I think we've exhausted that topic as well.
Okay, well, what's our next one? It was hold on, scrolling. I'm doom scrolling. Is it doom scrolling if you're scrolling upwards? What's the opposite of doom?
I don't know, but I know that it has something to do with abortion.
Or is that 5?
Probably
No. Topic 4 is the third installment in the legendary Boomer Zoomer trilogy. It is the Revenge of the Boomer. You've seen January 6th, but now try the cheap off-brand Brazilian version, January
8.
What was it? 8th. Yeah.
It's like the Ratatouille to Ratatouille.
Yes.
Actually, if January 6th in the U.S. was a cereal, January 6th is store brand. Brazil January 8th was name brand. Because
Honestly,
what happened in Brazil was actually an insurrection.
Did they shoot
Well, at
back?
least an attempt at an insurrection.
I'm pretty sure that involves shooting back. I feel like it was more of like exactly the same thing, like a wannabe riot.
Well,
but apparently
they
the right
actually
hasn't
went
taken
through
notes
and
from the left.
They actually took over more than one government building. They took over the 3 most important government buildings in Brasilia. Those being the presidential palace, the Congress Senate building, which that's what they call it in Brazil, and the Supreme Court.
One small issue with that, nobody was there.
I'm just gonna say this, I don't advocate or support the insurrectionists or rioters or whatever we're gonna call them in any way. But it just baffles me that they went through all this effort, basically took over all 3 federal government buildings. Yeah, just walked out. They didn't even try and enforce any demand. It's like, what exactly was the plan or purpose here?
They just emboldened Lula to oppress the people of Brazil more.
Maybe it was a psyop.
Like, why would you storm a government building and not even demand anything of the government?
In fairness, angry mobs and thinking things through typically aren't 2 phrases that belong in the same sentence. Unless the word "don't" is in between them. Angry mobs don't. So, what did we learn today, children? We learned don't go try to overthrow your government. unless you can prove that unless you
Have
in all
them in.
seriousness,
Would you like me to?
Just war theory.
No, would you like me to word it for you?
List off Catholic just war theory. Essentially, don't overthrow your government unless you're prepared to fight, unless you think it matches just war theory.
Yeah, do not attempt to overthrow the government that you are under unless it is apparent that it needs to be and that it can be replaced with a Catholic one.
I would also like to point out that Brazil had a shaman too, and quite frankly, their shaman looked a lot better than our shaman.
Agreed.
Yeah, their shaman had better drip. Yeah, I agree.
I haven't seen a picture of their shaman.
I got it. Hang on a second. I got you, fam. Going in conference text chat right now.
Camellia, has your mic been? Everyone. Oh, we heard something.
Switched to my computer. I apologize for the technical difficulties.
Yo, perfect.
Oh wow. Okay. I am 95% sure now that just because the shaman
the Brazilian shaman saved her money.
that either this is like some weird case of Groundhog Day, or this is like a psyop by the Brazilian government. I can't.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me for a communist to do a psyop.
I can't prove that I'm right, but you can't prove that I'm wrong. Okay, Camilla can talk now because she hasn't had a chance really.
Pardon me, but what are we discussing currently?
Revenge of the Boomer. Brazil trying to do their own like great value January 6th.
Walmart in January.
Jesus.
So we're discussing the coup that occurred in Brazil, basically.
Yeah.
Attempted.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm not entirely familiar with Brazil's government or their leader, but historically, some things have happened. Like, I know historically in different countries, like, especially things like that happen where people throw coups because they are not pleased with the system of government. Because, like, I mean, I'm just thinking back to, like, the French Revolution and like where the people weren't happy because they ran into some economic issues. So I'm not entirely sure why this happened. Does anyone else have like context on what happened?
Well, it's a little simple thing called communism.
Lula da Silva.
The president of Brazil is a little to the left.
He's
Okay.
Bernie but effective. He's Bernie but effective.
He's He's Bernie,
Does
but
he
less big.
does he at least have a cool voice? Because there's one thing we can all agree on Bernie. He does sound cool.
Sounds good in theory, but doesn't work in practice.
Yeah. Either way, yeah, so communist / socialist / whatever you want to call him in government, and the supporters of Brazilian Trump, Jair Bolsonaro, did not like him, and so somehow more effectively they actually stormed 3 of their government buildings with 100 times the amount of people that were at the January 6th in America. So
I'd like to argue the effectiveness of like Brazil compared to like US evens out because like at least like with January 6th there was people actually in the government building, unlike in Brazil. So
actually they were in the government building.
Apparently they trashed
no,
a
like
bunch of
government
things that
people
used to
in the
belong
government
to the
building.
Brazilian
Oh
royal
yes, that's fair.
Okay, I'm starting. Oh, sorry. What were you gonna say, Will?
Apparently they also trashed a bunch of rare historical artifacts that used to belong to the Brazilian royal family.
Ooh, that's not based. Okay, Is anyone else starting to see a pattern? Like, we overthrew our monarchy for stupid, petty reasons. The Brazilians overthrew their monarchy for even stupider, petty reasons, i.e., the republic, i.e., everyone was upset that that the Brazilian Empire had abolished slavery. And let's see, and now it just seems like they're kind of copying our homework, and I think that is.
Louis Philippe of France got overthrown. I think it was one of, it was Charles X or something like that. But he got overthrown because he didn't like the tricolor.
Oh yeah, well,
No, that was no, because like
He-
what would have been like Henry V of France could have been restored like right after like the Franco-Prussian War, was it? It's like
yeah, but
something after Napoleon III, but like he said no because he didn't like the tricolor.
well, in fairness,
I think of the wrong
people.
Charles.
Well, people would like to say, haha, that's stupid, but at the same time, it was sort of representative of the sort of monarchy it would be, because the French tricolor has a very, very specific Republican lineage, i.e., the red and the blue representing the people kicking the monarchy into submission, which is the white. So in that sense, unless you're doing something like the white is bigger than the red and the blue, showing the monarch's dominance and rulership over the people, then yeah, I wouldn't accept the tricolor either.
Yeah.
I'll raise the counter argument that like you could just change the flag later.
Yeah, seriously. Or put a
Well,
Fleur de
yeah,
Lis on
but
there.
yeah, I mean, look, I mean, it's a matter of principle. If there's one thing that we Catholics, a faithful Catholic, is good at, it's publicly sticking to his principles and not lying, essentially. But sometimes that does have a tendency to get us in trouble with liars. I mean, politicians. I mean, liars. So yeah, that's. Of course, the Catholic method ultimately is better because it's more conducive to the salvation of one's soul. But yeah. So
Of course.
weren't we talking about Brazil copying our homework?
Yes, Brazil copied our homework, and we need to hate on
Toy.
them.
Teacher, who's the teacher?
them to the teach for cheating.
I'd like to argue that the teacher would be the UN, and no.
The UN is sort of like an illegitimate student council made up of a bunch of rowdy students who wanted to pretend that they were being responsible.
So like every single student body president in history. Got it.
Yeah. I mean, the real arbiter would be the emperor, but well.
Fortunately, we don't have an emperor right now, and an emperor would probably be very interested in curtailing the great sin that is abortion.
Oh, we're all good to move on to the next.
Solid transition. I'm not gonna lie, that was a good one.
That was a good one. Now
Okay.
let's make it a
I'm
natural.
ready.
Okay, let's do this, I guess.
Silence.
Dun 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 dun.
Oh, okay. All right. So, 2 prongs here to this discussion. Actually, 3. The first is a reminder that the March for Life is still happening. Roe may have been overturned, but the battle to end abortion continues. And with that being said, the 50th annual March for Life will happen Friday, January 20th in Washington, D.C. Second of all, the U.S. House of Representatives passed a bill that would require babies born out of a botched abortion to be taken care of, rather than, the doctor attempting to finish the procedure. Lastly, the South Carolina Supreme Court has decided on the basis of privacy law that the South Carolina state heartbeat bill was unconstitutional according to the South Carolina Constitution.
I guess
Charles and I are disappointed.
yes, I'm gonna say kind of what I said last week, except a little more coherently. Secular law. Okay, I know coherently, kind of whatever. Anyway, secular law. We'll see how I do. Secular law is nice and all, but the secular law has to first and foremost conform to God's law. And if a judge is faced with upholding a secular law that is evil, or is in a situation where he has to interpret it for an evil outcome, then he should say no. Okay, because a judge should be a servant to the law, the divine law, not to the secular law. The secular law should be in service to the divine law. Both the judge and the secular law should be in service of the divine law. And South Carolina, my disappointment is immeasurable. And
my day is ruined.
And my day is ruined. So was that coherent enough? Does that get a cookie pass? Does that?
I could not have said it better myself, Charles.
Woo! Okay.
All right.
Progress.
I think this has been a very decent. I think this has been a very decent show. I mean, we went off on a couple of tangents, but I think we've landed very smoothly.
Oh well. Okay, but we should also give Congress credit for saying that if a child survives an abortion, that child should be taken care of. We should also give props. Credit where credit's due. I know we like to rag on Congress because it's stupid, but a broken clock that goes backwards at about half speed is right like once a month. So credit where credit's due.
So take us home, Charles.
We're all good. Okay. Wow, I might actually be able to get my sleep tonight. I am young. Okay. We can set the editing on fire. Okay. If you would like to join us live on Monarchist Minute, you can join our Discord and watch these ravings. Link in the description below. If you would like to hear the unhinged thoughts of our Vice Chancellor, you can follow us on Twitter and the unhinged thoughts of a few other people. Link in the description below. If you like inactivity and not being bothered because I barely do my job, you can follow, and you're a neocon. I'm sorry. You can follow us on Gab. Link in the description below. If you are of the 60+ demographic, you can follow us on the Facebook. Say it with me now. Link in the description below. Actually, hold on. I had to check. Do we actually have the link to the Facebook? I don't think I did that. Hold on. I might have been. Hold on. Oh no, I have the Facebook in there. Good. Okay. If you would like to join us on the Instagram, which apparently is owned by the Faceblock, you can join us. Say it with me now. Link in the description below. Okay. And let's see. Did I miss anything else? Oh, we also have a Reddit for all U.S. monarchists. Say it with me now. Link in the description below. And we have a website. One more time. Say it with me now. Link in the description below. Okay. We'll get to the coordination level of the greater good some other time. But now it is time for us to conclude in prayer. Let's see, remembering in addition to the Our Father, we're also going to pray a a requiem for Pope Benedict and Cardinal Pell and everyone who's died recently. 2022 and ended, in 2023 starting off with the downer of a lot of people dying. All right. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Ghost, amen. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven.
Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
Amen. Eternal rest grant unto them, O Lord.
And may the perpetual light shine upon them. May their souls and the souls of all faithful departed for mercy of God rest in peace.
Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Ghost, amen. So, until next week, may God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America.